All right, guys, we're going to draw the muscles of our lower leg and feet today. So if we're going to start, we're just going to kind of use our life drawing cues to get going. So I'm going to imagine here's my kneecap here. Remember that on the around the knee, we're round on the inside because of the goosefoot tendons, flat on the outside because of the IT band. Here would be my patellar ligament, and then we're always looking for, okay, where's the tibia? Where's the calf muscles? What am I seeing? And I'll just kind of fill this in like the shape. And when we get down in here, we would be looking for the tibia to be the inner ankle. We'd have the fibula. I'm just going to kind of show where it is right now. Here would be the tibia. Here would be the fibula. They'd have the interosseous membrane in between them. So the fibula would be our outer ankle and it'd be low. So we would have and then we'd have our foot shape. And I'm just going to kind of show the foot as though it's kind of facing us. So here would be like the big toe right here. Now the muscles, remember on the front of the leg, we don't see a ton of muscle from the front. We're mainly seeing the tibialis muscle, which starts in here and it comes down. And here, if this is the edge of the tibia right here, remember this is sharp. So this muscle comes down and it doesn't start crossing until this bone flattens out and gives it room. Remember when we studied the bones, we looked at that. And then it wraps around and goes underneath, down underneath like that. And we're going to get that as our main and first long muscle that we see on that front of the leg. We're going to have the Extensor Digitorum come out from there. And remember, this is the muscle that it's going to send a tendon to your four toes. Extensor Digitorum Longus. And then there's going to be a hallucis longus. Remember, hallucis means big toe. And you're going to have a hallucis longus that is going to grab onto that. So I can kind of show how these muscles fill in the space. On the outside, we're going to have our peroneus muscles. So here, if our fibula is in here, they're grabbing on too. And we'd have our Fibularis longus and brevis. We barely even see them because the tibialis is in the front, but they'd kind of be in here. And then the tertius kind of comes down and we see its tendon. So we see that the tertius comes onto the inside of the ankle and the brevis and longus go to the outside. So longus, brevis, tertius means third, the third one of those of that set. So again, I want everything to look like it comes out from underneath that tibialis. This is the tibia. Here's the muscle. What's this? This is just the muscles that you'd have coming from behind. So this is our Soleus muscle filling in that space behind. It's there, and then the gastrocnemius muscle. So what we want to emphasize is that this is farther away, and this is what's really sticking out. And I could maybe emphasize these tendons a little. I could put all the toe, if you wanted to put all your toes in there, please do. And then the little pinky toe, and get these tendons moving all the way down, because those are the ones that you can see on the top of your feet. And then the hallucis has its own. So these kind of cross the saddle of the foot, but it's a multicaudal muscle where it's kind of the one muscle, many tendons, and that's what we're seeing here. And so those are what we're going to deal with. If I'm drawing from the back, remember on the back you're looking for the H shape of the leg, because this is the hamstring tendons, right? The hamstrings are going like this, and this is the gastrocnemius muscle. So remember, here's my leg. It's flat on the outside. It's round on the inside. The gastrocnemius muscle, we look for that to kind of be like the shelf of the leg. And the inside is going to be, lower than the outside. And we're going to look for the Achilles tendon we're going to look for the heel. This looks weird right now. We're going to look for its helper underneath, the soleus. So here's the tendon, here's the soleus underneath. And this muscle is two pieces that grab onto the condyles of the femur. And remember, you might even see, so this, let's actually show this as more of a, there we go. And remember that there is the kind of a little aponeurosis in the middle of each of these. And so the muscle kind of like bunches around that on each side, like so, and then reaches up and over. And sometimes you'll see this little split in people. Many times you'll just kind of see a shelf, like we'll underplane this a little bit. Sometimes you don't see any muscles at all. You just kind of see a cylinder shape for the leg. So that's going to vary from person to person. So I'm going to show that this is high and this is low. And again, if I want these little fibers to show more, I can show them. Your plantaris little guy would be up here, kind of wrapping down and around. And then the soleus is doing this, and it's also grabbing onto that Achilles tendon, or tendocalcaneus. And we want to emphasize that tendon because that's a tendon that really shows up on your model. I would be seeing the outer ankle, the inner ankle, and then you'd be seeing the wedge of the foot in here too. Or you might be seeing it, so that would be the pinky right here. Or sometimes your person might be standing to the inside, so you'd see it this way. You just have to look and see, there's the wedge, or you see a little, now it looks like a giant duck foot. So, you know, see which way you're seeing the foot stick out, or it could be a little bit of both. So like maybe you're seeing it kind of like that. Depends, but emphasize what's closest so that that stands out. And again, think about your muscle striations. You might decide to show the muscles that are using your inner ankle as a pulley. We have our Fibularis and Longus and Brevis, we probably wouldn't see much of them except for maybe like the tendons coming down like this. We'll draw this from the side. But your Tibialis Posterior, underneath all this, underneath soleus, which is grabbing on like this, and your gastrocnemius, which comes up and grabs onto the condyles of your femur from up here. You have your Tibialis Posterior, your Flexor Digitorum Longus that goes underneath, and your Hallucis Longus. So your Flexor Digitorum goes underneath and flexes all your toes, and the Flexor Hallucis flexes your big toe, and then you have your Tibialis Posterior. So let's look at that from the side too. Again, this is all, let me get that on there just a little better. And then here's the helper, the soleus. So if I'm drawing from the side, and you have your knee here, and you have the back of your leg, the meat of the leg kind of sticks out to the back, like so. Here's the saddle of the foot. Here would be the low outer ankle. So this might round out just a little bit because the tibialis would be kind of rounding it out. But here's going to be where our fibula is, and our fibularis longus goes around like this. It uses the outer ankle as a pulley. The brevis is under it. And here, if we're looking at our metatarsals, remember metatarsal 5 kind of sticks out right here. One of them grabs onto it. The brevis, the longus, goes underneath the foot like so and grabs on, and remember, they help you to push up and point your toes. They're pulling this underneath your foot towards this. And so these muscles are down under here. You would have your digitorum going like this. You know, and that's the one that's sending all the tendons out. And then your tibialis would be doing this. And then here's gastrocnemius, and here's soleus. And they're all grabbing onto this Achilles tendon. So what we want to emphasize from the side, we want to see these two fibularises using your ankle as a pulley. So show the two, one attaching, one going under. And then and then you can kind of show the spread. And then what's in between the spread is the digitorum, the one that goes to all the different toes. So let me clarify that just a little. So if this is digitorum, we're going to all the toes. Extensor Digitorum Longus. Why is it called longus? Anytime there's a longus, you know there's a brevis. And remember that, remember the hallucis has its own too. So there's 4 tendons in here. 1, 2, 3, 4, and then the 5th goes to the hallucis. Remember you have that little egg shape that sits right here. So if I want to put that guy in there, those are the brevises. So there's a hallucis going to your big toe, and then there's 4 pieces of the digitorum to go to your other toes to help spread them out a little. Your pinky has its own adductor right in here that you'll show. Let's look at the bottom of the foot really quick. If I'm looking at the bottom of the foot, and here's my toes. Remember, just like your hands, your toes don't have any muscles inside them. But what we're kind of looking at is this section here. There's kind of 3 sections. There's this section here, which is abducting your hallucis, your big toe. This section here, your pad out here, has muscles that are abducting your pinky and flexing your pinky. And then this section in here has the digitorum brevis, flexor digitorum brevis, which is grabbing tendons onto these 4. So just kind of break it up. It's super simple. You start with the pad for your the ball of your foot, the arch, the pad for your heel. Remember this your heel, nothing's really attached to that except for a thick fatty pad is what you're walking on. Remember this tendon for your digitorum, it's coming this way because it's using your inner ankle as a pulley. And remember there's that quadratus that grabs it and stabilizes it from here. So we're going to have our abductors over here and here. We're going to have an adductor pulling back in on that hallucis, but it's under all this other stuff if you want to show those different layers. But just remember there's stuff that opens, flexes, and then kind of pulls back in. And if you can remember that, then it's simple to get those feet in there too. So if we look at some of the examples that people have done, you get to decide how much of the muscles, which things you're putting in. You can see that some people chose to do a couple different views. Some people focused more on the knees. Some people wanted to show the retinaculum. Remember, we have that retinaculum that goes, let me just point it out over here. The retinaculum that holds our tendons in. You want to maybe show that. We're seeing it in a couple different places. We're showing the 3 muscles that use your inner ankle as a pulley. We're showing the muscles that use your outer ankle as a pulley. So look for those muscles because they're going to either pull your legs up or your feet up or push them down. Big Achilles tendon, make sure that's easy to see. And then again, if you want to show parts of the skeleton here and there, that's handy to show where things are grabbing on. So we can just kind of treat it like life drawing at first and just kind of setting up like where's the wedge of my foot, where's my kneecap, where's the shape, and then kind of look for the major muscles and then fill in what else is there. So again, I'll be giving you guys the handouts on Google Drive, and let me know if you have any questions. And when we're done with this week, we're going to move on to surface anatomy next week. So again, let me know if you have any questions and have a great time drawing.